the more dangerous issue here. Pearl Harbor, as an analogy, it was a sneak attack in 1941 by the Japanese. 2,500 Americans killed in Hawaii, but with 26 billion smart devices expected to be floating around in the next few years, along with countless connected cars already on the road, is the U.S. government focusing on the wrong piece of this issue? In this hour, the Senate is set to take up a bipartisan cybersecurity bill. There's a live picture of the Senate floor, and this bill would encourage companies to push aside the privacy issue and share hacking and breach data with the government. But consider this, a hacker search engine called Shodan. Have you heard of this? Shodan. It exists, and it allows people to scan the internet for connected devices. Using this search engine, a large number, are you ready for this, of pacemakers, MRI scanners, cardiology devices, you name it, have turned up, some even inside people's bodies that others could then hack. Vinny Troia breaks into businesses for a living as the founder of Night Lion Security. He's called a white hat hacker. He helps companies figure out the holes in their systems. And Joe Loomis is the founder and CEO of cybersecurity firm CyberSponse. And yes, Joe's top security clearance was hacked. Both are here in a Fox Business exclusive. Vinny, I'll begin with you. Should the Senate be focusing on privacy issues when we have hackers making major threats to national security and even things like pacemakers?
I think they really aren't sure where to start. I mean, I kind of get the feeling like they're almost grasping at straws. I mean, the problem with this Information Sharing Act is that, number one, many of these organizations, as we just saw, not too long ago, don't even realize they're breached for up to a year or longer. And so to expect any sort of relevant data, by the time it comes in and we do anything with it, it's going to be useless. And the other problem is there's so much information coming out of these companies that being able to correlate all of this in a way that makes sense to actually act on and do something with from a threat perspective is going to be a completely insurmountable task, which I don't know how they're hoping to accomplish that with just government resources. Okay. I mean, I don't see it happening.
I agree. I think you need the private sector too, but the private sector, as you guys saw from Tim Cook, is looking to make a buck and looking to advance our lives and connect our cars when we step in and suddenly my car knows how many times I stumbled and slipped and took steps. Frankly, I would rather not be vulnerable to those hacks. Joe Loomis, the NSA is pounding the table on what scares me. I got nervous when I heard him say it's only a matter of time, but the Senate's looking at more of the privacy issue and can we get access to data? Is that more like a shotgun blast victim having his knee checked first after he fell from being shot versus going straight to the heart and fixing the aortal valves that are blowing up and exploding blood?
Well, I think the real problem too, Liz, is the fact that we're all addicted to convenience. So this convenience addiction really creates the vulnerability and security issue in itself, right? Mm-hmm. And also the ability to have all these interconnected devices. So it is, to me, it's really concerning because the world seems to be mostly focused on convenience and only 20% really think about the risk that we take by being convenient, whether it's online banking, whether it's having your pacemaker, being evaluated remotely, whether it's your MRI devices. It's a concern. I've met Admiral Rogers a few times, and I can tell you he's a very smart guy, and he's very, very pointed about what he's talking about. Is the fact that we've got big threat landscape. There's a lot of critical infrastructure issues. There's a lot of dated equipment. There's a lot of municipalities and water utilities that are all vulnerable. So I think the Pearl Harbor is a reality. It's just that we're going to have to be very critical about how addicted do we really want to become to this convenience factor.
Well, Vinny, is this a case where convenience and evolution to take a back seat to security? This lifestyle industry is wonderful, but given the choice, if I were to have a pacemaker, first of all, can pacemakers be hacked? That was straight out of a page from Homeland, the show, but is that a possibility, Vinny?
I mean, it's certainly a possibility at this point. I mean, we don't know the extent to what they can be hacked. But, I mean, with that being said, I mean, we've certainly seen it happen with cars. I mean, certainly there are situations now where you could literally hack into somebody's home and unlock their doors remotely. So, I mean, this whole concept of having everything connected to the internet does pose a fairly significant risk in many areas.
Yeah, and let's talk about the Jeep.
When you talk about medical...
Right. I want to talk about the Jeep, but go ahead and finish your thought. But the Jeep here, we've got video regarding the Wired magazine guys who remotely killed what is known as the Sherman tank of SUVs. That's the writer, Andy Greenberg. And, they, from 10 miles away, hackers turned this car off the street. He didn't even have his hands on there. The wiper fluid started blurring his vision. Radio began blasting. The digital display was taken over. The accelerator was removed. The brakes were cut. That is so scary to me, Vinny.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that they showed, which I think was incredibly impressive, was that the car manufacturers, it was almost like they were cutting corners. They felt that nobody was going to attempt to break into these systems, so at a certain level, they literally left it wide open. And what they found was that they could literally send a signal out to just IP addresses on the internet, and the cars, active cars, would just return their geolocation and VIN number. So, I mean, it was amazing how much information they pulled out of that. And that's the type of research that we need to be doing at this point.
Joe, when I look at this Shodan data access network where you can get in there and hackers can basically troll anything that's nearby, it's almost like somebody is on the verge of committing murder by Wi-Fi. Is that, am I being so local news by overstating this? Because that came from local news. You know, we tend to over-dramatize sometimes. Am I?
No, I think you're being wise about the fact that, let's talk about the risks, right? I think people need to understand that for everything that we connect to the internet, it is an opportunity for some to compromise. And these car manufacturers do not have an information security department that is, first of none and first in industry on how to protect the new sector. And so imagine that if you're building a product and you've got software and you're doing all this coding and you're really excited about your product, it's often difficult to understand how or what is vulnerable because you don't know what you don't know. And this is called the zero-day attack. You could build and try to protect the product as best as you can, but ultimately there are unlimited number of scenarios with software development and coding and the ability to interconnect of ways to get into the device. And I'll be honest with you, the only really true way to not getting in is to unplug it.
Okay, I am removing my, how many steps did I take? Not that anybody could kill me. I'm not really moving enough, as I find from that. Vinny, it's great to see you. Joe, it's a pleasure. We really appreciate this.